p.m. for the chance to hear full-length, unabridged opera, ballet, symphonic, and chamber music. I'll share news of local concert events that you may be interested in attending, background information about some of the greatest musical compositions ever written. Tune in weekdays 9 to 10 a.m. and Wednesday from 9 to 10:30.
Hi, I'm Megan, host of Radio Free Saturday Morning, the eclectic music mix beacon of the Four Corners and worldwide. Tune in to discover new music and to revel in the more familiar with no rules on genre, form, or novelty. Learn more about the origins of songs, the lives of the musicians that made them, and a wide array of interesting facts in general. It's freeform radio at its finest. Hear what you rarely hear anywhere else here on Radio Free Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. every Saturday on KSJE.
KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center, here to meet your urgent and emergent medical needs, whether they are COVID-19 related or not. Medical emergencies happen when you least expect them. Whether it's a stroke, heart attack, illness, or injury, San Juan Regional Medical Center's caregivers are here to provide care to you and your loved ones. Find out more online at sanjuanregional.com.
Ten minutes past 8 o'clock. It's Wednesday morning, January 6th. Happy birthday, New Mexico, and good morning, everybody. I'm Scott Michlin. Thanks for tuning in to KSJE 90.9 FM over the air here in San Juan County, 103.3 FM over the air in Durango, Colorado, and streaming everywhere from our website at ksje.com. Welcome also to our viewers who are watching our visual radio program this morning. The video is streaming live to the KSJE YouTube channel, our Facebook page, and our Twitter account this morning. We're glad that you are with us. Coming up in the next few moments, my guest this morning, Farmington Mayor Nate Duckett, will be joining me live. We'll be talking about his declaration that 2021 is the year of resiliency in Farmington and the Four Corners. We'll be talking about that and much, much more in the next few moments right here on KSJE. Then Dr. Mike Hadabaugh will be joining us for a best of segment later on this hour at 8:50 a.m., but always some good words of advice from Dr. Hadabaugh, so we hope you'll stay tuned for that coming up later on this morning. Mick Hess will take us roving with the arts after the news at 9 a.m. today. And this is Wednesday, of course. It's another of Mick's local favorites programs where he catches up with a local musician in the community. And this week, he's talking with Sandy Kiefer. She's a cello player and also a teacher, and he'll be talking with her about some of her favorite pieces of music and playing some of those for us coming up at 9:06 on our classical music program, Roving with the Arts. At 10:30, it's Right on Four Corners, our local and regional author program, and Tracy Hales-Vass is speaking with author Bryn Kalenda about his latest book called The Irish Skateboard Club. It is another in his mystery series. We'll be hearing more about that today at 10:30 on KSJE. I'll remind you, too, of course, in addition to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, we invite you to connect with us on Instagram as well. And let's talk about the weather for a moment. Outside, it is sunny, currently 20 degrees in Farmington here at San Juan College. We're on our way to a high of 41 today, partly cloudy overnight tonight with a low of 18. It'll be partly cloudy for the rest of this week, as a matter of fact, with highs each day near 40 and overnight lows in the mid-20s to the mid-teens before the sunshine returns on Sunday. Well, let me turn to my guest and welcome him to the KSJE microphones and video cameras this morning. Farmington Mayor Nate Duckett is joining me from his offices at City Hall. Mayor Duckett, good morning. Good to see you, and thanks for joining me.
Mr. Michlin, it's a pleasure to be here. I like this new format that you've got me on, and man, you just keep moving up the ladder with new technology.
Well, we're trying. We are trying, and we appreciate the support of the community and organizations to be able to enable us to do all this. So, and Happy New Year, by the way, to you and your family.
Happy New Year to you as well.
Thank you. So you kind of declared that 2021 should be, or wants to be, or you would like it to be, the year of resiliency in Farmington and in the region. And so, can you talk to me a little bit about why you decided to do that, and what was the response so far?
Well, I'll tell you, Scott, it's when you're looking at what we've gone through in this past 12 months, really, you need something to kind of shake it off, so to speak, and move forward into this next new year. But you need to be realistic about it. So being resilient, of course, is the capacity to recover quickly from difficult situations. And this community has been resilient in the past. We've faced many challenges before, and I think it's just a call to arms, so to speak, for everybody to kind of let's pick it up. Let's get our attitudes focused, get our effort going in the right direction together, and make a strong move here in 2021 to battle through what will continue to be some economic challenges, and health challenges dealing with COVID, but certainly looking for that bounce back effect that I believe we're going to be prepared for when things open back up completely.
And looking back at the past 9 months or however long it's been that we've been in this COVID-19 pandemic and some of the lockdowns and things like that, Mayor Duckett, how do you feel the community has responded thus far?
You know, it's if you go around and talk to folks, you're going to get a good mix of feelings, one way or the other. But my overall sense of what I'm feeling from business owners and employees and just generally families, you know, while there is certainly some discontent, there is some concern with what this looks like here, not just for Farmington, but for the state of New Mexico going forward. Overall, there is an optimistic view that we are going to get through this. Business owners have repeatedly spoke to me regarding their appreciation of the community support. They've come out in droves. Just even yesterday, speaking to a restaurant owner, said that his takeout service has really picked up, and he's just very appreciative that this community has rallied around them.
Very good. And I would imagine there was a lot of thought, you put a lot of thought into choosing your words carefully, and the word resiliency, that's no accident that is the word that you chose.
No, absolutely. It's been on my mind probably for the last few months that, you know, it's just one of those characteristics of a strong individual and in this situation, a strong city that's made up of a bunch of folks who've chosen to live here. I think that's important to say. There's a lot of places we could all live, but there's reasons why we're here in Farmington, and so there's a huge benefit to obviously living here in the Four Corners area, which we talk about extensively as to why this is a great place for outdoor recreation, for retirement, for job neutral positions, those sorts of things. So there's a big reason for that. Resiliency, of course, is all those people coming together in this moment to make the best of a bad situation, maybe, or really just taking on that attitude that each day I'm going to make the best of this, and my interactions with my fellow human beings is going to be in a positive way. I'm going to have control of my attitude, my actions. I'm going to contribute. I'm going to connect. I'm going to have confidence. All those things which I laid out here, actually in the 7 C's, which is an interesting thing. I was looking up resiliency online and just kind of gathering my thoughts, and came across something from the something on the Stockholm Resilience Center that lists out the 7 C's of resilience. And it was very just instrumental to me, very educational, just to think about these are the components that would make one resilient. And certainly you could apply those to a whole community of people that are working together here for the right reasons.
Right. And as you mentioned, I think, too, that this can go far beyond just being resilient in terms of dealing with the pandemic and COVID-19, some of the public health orders, but some of the other challenges that you and I have talked about before on this program that our community is facing even before the pandemic, correct?
Resiliency could really be applied to, since the last 2 years, certainly that I've been in the position and been honored to be the mayor of this community, even back to 2014 when I was elected to city council. We've lost a lot of jobs. We've lost a lot of industry jobs, high-paying jobs here, and so resiliency has been a component really of what this community has gone through for this past decade almost. So, we're just kind of bringing this to the forefront now, so to speak, and putting a word to it and saying, let's focus, let's really get tough right now because we need each other more than ever. And we've got some very positive things that I think are being completed that are going to help us push through this. The downtown project coming to fruition, getting completed. That's a big one because we know that that's going to attract new businesses and allow downtown businesses to expand. The River Trail construction continues to go on. This is going to be, this has been on the plan for our community for decades, and we're finally going to be able to see this come to fruition and hopefully get it completely connected here by 2022, all the way down the Animas River. So those are 2 particular things that I'm excited about that I know are going to add to the quality of life here, and certainly entice individuals to consider Farmington as a place to come and visit, to play, and also a place to open up businesses and bring their workforce.
Well, I want to
use our workforce, really.
Indeed. I want to pick up on a couple of those things that you mentioned, Mayor Duckett. First of all, downtown Farmington, congratulations. I mean, Main Street has reopened. Motorists are using the roundabouts without any really negative problems, which we all thought that would be the case. And some of these business owners along Main Street are having these wider sidewalks. As you mentioned, we saw some of it being used as the weather was still allowing for outdoor dining, and that will continue as weather warms up in the spring and summer, of course. And that was really by design. We've seen some other local communities kind of copy, if you will, that whole concept of moving out into the street to offer some of these outdoor services. But Farmington's is going to be permanent, and there's going to be a lot more added to it as we talk about some speakers and Wi-Fi, I think, are in the plans. Some of the trees have been planted, and there's all other flowers and things that I know will be going into those planters. So again, congratulations to you and the team for putting this together. And there's a lot of stuff I know that's out of sight that was part of this project as well. Water, sewer, some of those improvements as well.
Yeah, certainly the length of time that it took this year to get it done, we had basically come to the conclusion that we were going to gut the entire street, replace all the utilities that we could get our hands on there, so we didn't have to come back later and redo that and cause other disruption of businesses downtown. So, but yes, everything's been thought out by design and through the vocal communication that we received from public feedback through the community. Obviously, this downtown project's gone through different iterations to get to the point that the past city council voted to refinance bonds in order to fund its construction. A lot of those things takes guts, but I think what we've seen here recently is a shift in mentality that we're going to have to spend a little bit of money in order to get the people in and to keep the people here and to spur some economic recovery and sustainability. And I think that's what the council's mentality has been. And downtown is a great example of a public-private project that has gone together. And it's interesting just to think that construction was occurring at the same time that we were seeing businesses shut down because of the pandemic. And I'm almost, in my mind, I mean, it's weird to say this, but I'm thankful that we were able to do that construction in that same year. I mean, what if the construction of Main Street had occurred in 2019, which was our plan, and then we also had business shut down in 2020? I think it would have made it a much more challenging 2-year period as opposed to just 1 year. So I think there's some things that are going to work in our favor, and we're going to be able to hopefully see sooner than later a lot of these great projects. Now, I want to make sure, too, we mentioned the importance of the Tota Theater project that San Juan County and the city of Farmington are teaming up on. Obviously, a historic theater, a beautiful facility for arts and entertainment. We're excited to see that as a important component in downtown and drawing people into that area. I know the business owners are excited about it as well. We want to see this. Obviously, we talk about placemaking, but I just see myself being able to park downtown, walk to stores, eating dinner, going to a show, whether it's at the Civic Center or at the Tota, and having friends who come from out of town and making this place that we've all dreamed it, and really it is, and it was, by the way. We're not recreating the wheel here. Downtown has always had a lot of really great character about it. But now with the addition of these extended sidewalks, being able to have outdoor seating for dining, and what I'm excited about and what we're really hoping will come to fruition is going to be the annual events downtown. We'll be able to shut down that corridor of Main Street, being able to bring out the vendors and have shows and do things that are going to really bring this community together. There's a lot of examples, obviously, that I've been given over the years of saying, hey, why can't we do this downtown? And we want to see some of those things take place.
Very exciting. I agree with you, Mayor Duckett, and we've seen it in other communities that places that have these kind of retail and entertainment districts, which I think is what you're talking about, and by having all these things in close proximity, that allows folks to kind of gather and walk from one venue to another, and like you said, shop, eat, and enjoy a show all within a couple blocks of each other, which is what we all look forward to doing again very soon, we hope. Let me pick up on the trail project that you mentioned as well, because I think that is notable. There's a lot of folks in our community, I think, that think and rightfully so, that the trails along the Animas River are one of the gems of Farmington, and there's a project underway to link some of the segments of these trails, as you mentioned, that'll now be kind of a continuous trail from basically the confluence of the San Juan and Animas Rivers, I believe, all the way back east now, up on almost to 20th Street, if not beyond. Am I thinking of that correctly?
You are, and actually it's even broader than that. So, I mean, the first sections will be done basically from 20th and Main Street all the way over to connect into Among the Waters, which does start at the confluence. The part of the project that's being worked on right now is going to run just south of Miller Street, and right by where Miller Bridge is at, it kind of runs south and west of there. That's going to be some of the most beautiful, it's going to provide some of the most beautiful landscapes that we're going to have in our community. I mean, just being able to go out there, went out there yesterday actually, and just to look and see what it's going to look like, being able to walk along the river at that part and have the bluffs right there across from you. I'm just picturing what sunset's going to look like. I mean, it's going to be a great addition to that river walk. But then after we get through with that section, we're still heading northeast, so to speak, along the Animas, and we'll take that all the way up to where someday Pinion Hills Boulevard will cross the Animas River. So we'll have that full connection. So anybody from, if you live in Foothills, you jump on your bike, you can go for a run, and you can connect to the river right there from your house and go all the way down to the hospital. It's going to be exciting, and these are things that we truly believe add quality and character to this community, and we're excited to see this stuff get done.
Very exciting, and of course the museum at Gateway Park, and will live up to its name as being kind of that gateway to the trail system, when that comes to fruition, and it could go in two directions from the museum there on East Main Street.
Easy access point. It's the most visible point on Main Street to get to the river. We're looking forward. Obviously we've completed a study on creating a river wave park, so you can surf the river.
Right.
Some of these amenities that we see they fit in with who this community has said we want to be and where we want to go, and we're excited to get them done.
Very good. And you mentioned something earlier too, Mr. Mayor, that I wanted to ask you about, and that was kind of building some of these public-private partnerships and not being afraid to use some public money, city money, to kind of jumpstart some of these projects, downtown being one, providing the infrastructure of the streets and sidewalks, and then allowing the business owners to build upon that. Certainly the Bisti Bay at Brookside Park is another, I think, infusion of public dollars to make this community a destination, as you and I have talked about numerous times. But I think you've come under some criticism for doing this as well, you and the council maybe. And so can you talk to us a little bit about kind of the thought process of doing that the idea is to use some of this public money to then spur some private investment and private development too? It's not just the city paying for all this.
No, of course not. I mean, I'll be honest, Scott, I've not received a whole lot of complaints from individuals. I think people see the vision. You got to replace Brookside Pool. Replacing with the flat bottom pool was not going to be the best interest of this community. Providing a new, updated outdoor water amenity gives impact. I mean, that's impactful when you see something like that, and it spurs this idea and the vision of who we are as a city. We're a place where families live and play. We're a place where individuals who want to be outdoors want to be. And the community came out strong when the council passed the 0.25% increase a few years ago that was going directly towards community transformation and economic diversification. Resiliency in that component, you're looking at it saying, what else can we do? There was a New York Times article that came out early of last year, and unfortunately the writer used a quote that I had heard in 2014, and that was use of the phrase death spiral. The word death spiral was what was being told to me when I was running for city council in 2014 by a number of local business leaders, that's how they saw San Juan County, that's how they saw the city of Farmington, and certainly a lot of the national narrative that was being talked about us, the fastest shrinking city in America, those kind of things fed into that narrative. You have to change that narrative. And there's some things that you have to kickstart and you've got to put effort towards in order to overcome that narrative. Unfortunately, this community came out in overwhelming positive support for the CTED funding and for projects just like the Bisti Bay, just like downtown, and certainly the river trails and the other components that are doing that. The other things that have come with those are also the public safety components, the ARU unit, which I know has been discussed at length here on your show, also the park and downtown Rangers division of our police department, the camera systems that have gone in out at Burke Park along the Animas River Trail system. These things to provide that security that a lot of people felt in our highest, if the areas that we want to say that we love, the areas that we want to try and get people to go to, we want them to feel assured and confident that they can go there and enjoy those places in a safe manner. We live in a safe city. Unfortunately, there's, again, these national narratives that come out of an MSA statistic saying that Farmington is not a safe place to live. And that's simply not the case. And those of us who live here and live and breathe it and are working in it every day understand and know that.
True, very true. And that MSA that you're talking about, that metropolitan statistical area, so a lot of times these stats are covering all of pretty much San Juan County, but they call it Farmington, and that is, I think, what you're mentioning. And I agree with you, Mr. Mayor. I think you're right that there's a lot of positive things, and I've seen some negative comments, but maybe not as many to make it sound like it's a majority, because it certainly is not of the population for sure. But let's look forward then. So as 2021 gets underway, this year of resiliency, and all of us are hoping for an end to the pandemic, and as the vaccines get rolled out, and hopefully more gets under control, and our hospitals not overwhelmed, and things along that. Can you tell us what you foresee happening this year? Or are we hoping for more, maybe a return to some normalcy, maybe some downtown events that we've come to enjoy over the years, and be able to use some of this new infrastructure that's been built in the last year?
Well, I'll tell you, the city's staff is working hard to get that planned out. We've had a couple, this past year we had the New Mexico Outdoor Recreation Conference was supposed to be here in October. That was going to be a big kind of jump start and really just a recognition of the hard work that's gone in here to build the outdoor recreation component in our community. We want to see that here in 2021, so we're looking forward to that. Obviously, all of our regular annual events we want to see take place. We've got a plan like they're going to happen, the Mayor's Ball being another one of those things. The Mayor's Ball is normally in March. Obviously, we're not going to be able to do that in March, so we're going to be looking at that, further on, months down the road.
I think it's kind of planned for summer, if I'm not mistaken, at least at the moment.
Right. Yes. So, you're trying to kind of navigate through these tough waters right now, where we're still in the same situation we were at the end of 2020, but still looking forward and planning for the next things that you want to happen, and being realistic about it. So sure. I can't tell you, obviously we want to have a big downtown grand opening. We'd love to have a big celebration down there and bring people to this beautiful area. All we can do at this point is just continue to encourage people. If you love Farmington, if you love the fabric of this community, we need you to go downtown. We need to use the things that we say we love and the things that we support. And those businesses down there certainly appreciate that. And we look forward to more people, entrepreneurs, who are going to find opportunities in those spaces to bring even more additional opportunities for people to shop and play and be entertained. So, but right now, I think what we're really looking at is focusing on the economic sustainability of this community, continuing to support the local businesses in any way, shape, or form that we as a city organization can, but also encouraging the community members to do the same thing. Same thing with our nonprofits. This has been a tough year for the nonprofits. They serve a very important role. I mean, many people don't know the city of Farmington basically owns the building that the Boys and Girls Club is in. We own the Echo Food Bank building, and these are publicly owned facilities, and they need public support. And so it's important that we recognize their mission. And if you're passionate about something and you want to volunteer, there's ample room for that as well. So encouraging those components. We need our kids outside playing. We need them engaged in behaviors that you and I are familiar with, and we've all been familiar with, in attending school and interacting with one another. And we want to continue to encourage those things. And I can tell you on the mayor's council that I serve on, when we discuss these things with the governor's chief of staff, we are continuing to push on those topics, because we feel they're highly important. And we're looking around at other communities and states that surround us, and we recognize the difficulties that we're all facing, but our children have been impacted this year. And so we're trying to continue to encourage different ways to get them outside get them doing things in a safe manner. And then you move into the economic recovery thing. And that's where we really just have to get refocused on those CTED initiatives, the community transformation initiatives, whether it be ORI, retirement community, tourism, those kind of things. We need to continue to push those. And we've had some really interesting stuff this past year, Scott. We cleaned up the Sage motels after years of being discarded and being unsafe for individuals and being an eyesore for this community. We were able to get those facilities torn down. I know there's a couple of other awesome projects that are going to be happening with some other older buildings here in this community that are going to make people smile. We're looking forward to the individuals who are taking care of those things to bring those to fruition as well. But we have a lot of things to look forward to, and I just think that's important that people keep those things in mind. You know, I don't think I've ever felt a new year where I felt more like I need to wash off something, wash off the bad vibes, the bad habits that I personally formed over 2020, and just renew myself here in 2021 moving forward, and encourage my community to come with me as we go through this journey together.
I think that's well said, Mr. Mayor, and I agree with you, and I applaud you again for the city taking some action on some of those blighted properties that you've been talking about and describing. That they're now those buildings are gone. Those buildings had caught fire, and so they're ready for something new, whatever that may be, on those parcels of land. I want to just end this morning by talking a little bit about economics and jobs and things like that. Of course, the city is certainly behind the Enchant Energy project with the San Juan generating station. That continues to move forward. There are certainly a lot of critics of that, but there are also a lot of proponents of that as well. There's some solar projects, if I understand correctly, they're planned for San Juan County, which may not help the city proper, but certainly helps the whole ecosystem and economic diversity of the county. And I would certainly think that the city is in favor of that.
Yeah, the city's in favor of anything that brings opportunity to our area. So, absolutely.
And the Enchant project was moving forward. Can you give us an update on that while we have you with us?
Yeah, I believe they gave an update yesterday to San Juan County. So Hank Adair and City Crane both gave an update to San Juan County, and the project continues to move forward. They were encouraged by this recent bill that passed through D.C. that provided additional support for carbon capture projects. It extended the 45Q tax credits by a couple of years, and is going to be funneling billions of dollars into projects like these to help reduce carbon emissions, maintain jobs, and provide vital dispatchable 24/7 power to the globe. I mean, it's a global movement, and I'm encouraged to see that our federal counterparts are also recognizing its value. So we continue to push forward on that. So that's some good news.
Very good. And I wanted to ask you briefly about the upcoming legislative session in Santa Fe, Mr. Mayor. It seems like revenue projections are maybe higher than some of the state folks had thought, which could be good news. Maybe the budgets won't look quite as awful as folks were thinking, but what are you hearing? What are you hoping comes out of that 60-day session?
Well, obviously this year we're concerned about a few important factors. Hold harmless is always a concern for us, and this is a long story, of course, but we would like to see no change in the hold harmless situation. Qualified immunity is an important component to us, and that's being discussed by the Civil Rights Commission, and will be presented to our state electeds here during this session. But we are recognizing that obviously the state's going to be on a lower budget, therefore there will be less dollars to go around within the communities, and so we're asking for specific things that we think would be able to knock out if we could get the money for those. We need some additional police vehicles to replace our aging police force. When you're working through austerity, it's important that you kick a lot of things down the road, and unfortunately when it comes to vehicles and different things like that, we have a tendency to push those on. We're looking at some Broadway Bridge refurbishing that needs to be done. We've got a little list here. Farmington Lake emergency response equipment, another one of those outdoor assets that are continuing to be developed, and we recognize this past summer was a big summer for Farmington Lake. There is some emergency equipment that we'd like to see out there to support individuals in case there is something bad that goes on, so we're asking for some dollars for that. And then among the Waters River Trail security cameras. Again, we've put in some security cameras already in the Bird Park area. They've actually been very useful in catching criminals, and so we're going to be asking for some additional monies there. These are based on what our ICIP is, which is our capital improvement plan. These are kind of some low-hanging fruit, so to speak. We're not asking for anything with big dollars because we recognize the state's in a tough situation, so we wanted to be more reasonable about it. And if we don't get any of these things, I would not be surprised. But if you don't ask, you don't know. And so we found it important to at least go that route.
Very good. And we had a question on Facebook, Mr. Mayor, a little bit about the road from the Wildflower area, I believe Crouch Mesa, maybe down onto East Main, which would be maybe that extension from Pinion Hills that has been on the books for a long time. But that is not a low-hanging fruit. That is a very expensive project, right? And so that is still on the books somewhere as a future project for the city and county to work on together?
We were so close in 2016 to getting that funded with the assistance of the state, and that unfortunately fell through. And so the price tag on that continues to go up. It's north of $20 million to get that done. But we recognize that from an economic standpoint, and certainly from a quality of life standpoint for individuals who live up on the Mesa, that would be an important thing to do. And it continues to remain on our top 5 lists for capital improvement plans. There has been continued discussion this past year, kind of a renewed discussion. Unfortunately, the pandemic happened, but the state DOT had come to us and said, look, we think we can help you with this. So we're going to continue to work that route. And I know business owners on East Main, there's a number of them who've opened up on that side and made strategic plans to do business there because of the possibility of that road being built and the economic engine that it will provide them. So we're going to continue to consider that. Obviously, again, traffic on that side continues to be an issue to some degree. We've done a lot of work over there to speed that up and to improve it. But, when you're a service hub and a business hub, a retail hub for 300,000 people, you can expect on Friday and Saturdays those areas to be certainly a little bit more congested. So we think this road up to Crouch Mesa, the Pinion Hills Bridge extension, would provide some relief to that as well. A lot of positives to it. Obviously, some detractors as well, but we're going to continue to put that on our plan and look for opportunities. We go out for grants every year for it. So,
right, and that will continue. It sounds like to me. So
it will, yes, sir.
And as City Manager Mays reminds me when I complain about traffic on the east side of town, he reminds me that those are people spending money in our community and supporting the economic businesses of Farmington. So that's a good answer.
It does. It makes, when I'm driving through there and I see people out, especially this past year, anytime I've seen congestion on Main Street, I just literally look up and say, thank you, Lord. We continue to provide people a tremendous service here. Our business owners do for people all across this Four Corners region. And we're digging in more and really appreciating more our relationship with Southern Colorado and those communities. Scape is a great example of that, that's coming to San Juan College. We have a lot to offer each other, and we want to continue to build on that regional economic hub.
Right. Very true. Well, and that is brings in a lot of economic dollars to the community for sure, and for local businesses, as you've mentioned. So, Mayor Duckett, we are out of time, I'm sorry to say, but it's always a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you for your time this morning, and we'll talk again very soon.
Appreciate you, Scott. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. You're very welcome. That is Farmington Mayor Nate Duckett, my guest here on KSJE. Back with more in just a moment, everyone. The time right now is 8:42.
Apple's privacy nutrition labels show you which apps consume the most data, but the other menu options are limited. From American Public Media, this is Marketplace Tech. I'm Molly Wood.
Marketplace Tech is supported by Mimecast, a cloud email security and resilience companion for Microsoft 365, safeguarding your company against phishing